Check one, two. Check, check. Yeah. One, two, three.
Check 1 2.
Check audio.
Good morning. It's Counselor Keenan just checking in, making sure you can hear my audio.
You're coming through, Counselor Keenan. Thank you. Counselor Pleshy, can we do a mic check, please?
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you're coming through clear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to go. Okay. Good morning, everyone. We'll call to order today's meeting of Committee of Council for Wednesday, January 15, 2025. And as we begin today's meeting, we would like to acknowledge that we are gathering here today on the treaty territories of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and before them the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, the Huron-Wendat, and we also acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and other global Indigenous people that now call Brampton their home. We are honored to live, work, and enjoy this land. Good morning and welcome to our meeting of Brampton's Committee of Council. I'll ask the clerk to let us know if we have all members present today.
Through you, Chair. Yes, we have all members present. I think Mayor Brown may be joining us online later.
Very good, thank you. So our next item is approval of the agenda. I'll ask the clerk to give us a quick update on any changes to today's agenda.
Through you, Chair Vicente, we've had a few updates since the original publishing of the agenda. 6.2, delegation from Miriam Adam for Yes Youth and Women Can. The delegation was withdrawn. 7.2, additional materials were added and published on the website. Discussion item at the request of Regional Councillor Santos regarding driver training and examinations. 8.3.4, discussion item at the request of Councillor Medeiros regarding the naming of the Chris Gibson hockey pad. This item was inadvertently omitted from the agenda and added to the revised. 10.2.2, staff report, proposed amendments to Bylaw 165, 2022, occupancy standards. A supplementary report was added to the agenda. That's it for the updates.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Does any member wish to add a business item to today's agenda? I see no speakers, so I'd like to request Council to allow for an addition of an item at the request of myself and Mayor Brown on the Seniors Council. Okay, and Councillor Barr, do you have an item now?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to add a discussion item regarding Black History Month.
Okay, thank you very much. I see no other additions. I have a motion moved by Councillor Barr to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor, any opposed? That carries. Next, do any members have a declaration of pecuniary interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act for any matter to be considered on today's agenda? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to note for the meeting minutes. Committee, as part of our consent motion process, I will read each agenda item that is subject to a consent motion, and any member may verbally identify the item to be held for debate during the meeting. Any item not held for debate will be considered as part of the consent motion and voted on for approval. I'll start reading the relevant agenda items, and members can identify any items to be held for debate. Item 7.1, staff updates on government relation matters. In consent. Item 8.2.1, a staff report regarding traffic bylaw 9393 and administrative updates. In consent. Item 8.2.2, a staff report in-service safety review Credit View Road between Mayfield Road and Bovair Drive West in Ward 6. That's in consent. Hold, held by Councillor Pelletier. Item 8.3.1, the minutes of the Environment Advisory Committee, December 3rd, 2024. In consent. Item 8.3.2, the minutes of the Brampton School Traffic Safety Council, December 5, 2024. In consent. Item 9.3.1, the minutes of the Brampton Sports Hall of Fame Committee, December 5, 2024. In consent. Item 9.3.2, the minutes of the Brampton Community Safety Advisory Committee, December 12, 2024. In consent. Item 9.4.1, correspondence from Monica Nikopoulos, registered orthomolecular holistic health and cancer practitioner, regarding water fluoridation. In consent. Item 10.2.1, staff report regarding occupancy standards and overcrowding in rental accommodations. That's in consent. We're going to hold item 10.2.2 for direction. Item 10.3.1, the minutes of the Accessibility Advisory Committee for December 10, 2024. That's in consent. Item 11.3.1, the minutes of the Med Task Force, November 7, 2024. In consent. Item 12.2.1, staff report on the delegation of regional tax ratio setting, 2025. That's in consent. Item 12.2.2, staff report regarding active consulting service contracts for the third quarter of 2024. That's in consent. Item 12.2.3, a staff report regarding purchasing activity quarterly report, third quarter 2024. In consent. Item 12.2.4, a staff report regarding surplus declaration and disposal of a portion of city-owned lands at 0 and 40 Aurora Place in Ward 2. That's in consent. Item 13.1, the referred matters list. Any items to be held there? That's in consent. Item 15.1, now we have our closed session minutes for the Sports Hall of Fame Committee, December 5, 2024. In consent. We're going to be holding item 15.2 for direction. Closed session item 15.3, closed report, request to begin procurement, enterprise IT products and services. That's in consent. Item 15.4, closed session report, verbal update, status of negotiations. That'll be held. And item 15.5, closed session report, verbal update on new litigation will also be held. We'll ask the clerk to summarize the items that have been included on the consent motion for approval.
Through you, Chair Vicente, the following items are included in the consent motion. 7.1, Government Relations Matters. 8.2.1, Staff Report, RA Traffic Bylaw 9393. 8.3.1, Minutes, Environment Advisory Committee. 8.3.2, Minutes, Brampton School Traffic Safety Council. 9.3.1, Minutes, Brampton Sports Hall of Fame Committee. 9.3.2, Minutes, Brampton Community Safety Advisory Committee. 9.4.1, Correspondence from Monica Nikopoulos. 10.2.1, Staff Report, Occupancy Standards and Overcrowding in Rental Accommodations. 10.2.2, Staff Report, Proposed Amendments to Bylaw 165-2022, Occupancy Standards, Supplementary Report. 10.3.1, Minutes, Accessibility Advisory Committee. 11.3.1, Minutes, MedTech Task Force. 12.2.1, Staff Report, Delegation of Regional Tax Ratio Settings. 12.2.2, Staff Report, Active Consulting Services Contracts. 12.2.3, Staff Report, Purchasing Activity Quarterly Report. 12.2.4, Staff Report, Surplus Declaration and Disposal of Lands. 13.1, Referred Matters List. 15.1, Closed Minutes, Sports Hall of Fame. 15.3, Closed Report, Request to begin procurement.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. I have a motion moved by Councillor Santos and seconded by Councillor Pelletier to approve the consent motion. All in favor? Any opposed? That carries. Next, we'll move on to announcements, and we'll go to our first very important announcement on the passing of former Councillor Grant Gibson. Grant Gibson, a former Brampton City Councillor who dedicated nearly 3 decades of his life to serving our community, passed away in the morning of December 25th, 2024. Gibson was first elected to Brampton City Council in 1991, following in the footsteps of his late father, Chris, the namesake of Brampton's Chris Gibson Recreation Center. From 1991 to 2018, Grant Gibson represented Wards 1 and 5 and played a pivotal role on numerous committees, including serving as Chair of Community Services, Building and Bylaw, Planning, and Budget Committees. In 2026 and 2014, he was appointed as Regional Councillor. His passing is a significant loss for our community, and we honor his dedication, leadership, and lasting contributions to our city. As a mark of respect and in recognition of Grant Gibson's legacy, flags at City Hall were flown at half-mast on December 26th, and today we remember him. I have speakers. Councillor Medeiros.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess myself, Councillor Pelletier, and Councillor Fortini, when we first got elected, we experienced one term with Councillor Gibson, and by no means did we see eye to eye. We were probably on opposite ends on many of the issues, but one thing that I always respected about Councillor Gibson is that when he spoke, you knew he was passionate about an issue. You know, he's given his life, he gave many years to public service. He comes from a family of giving public service to Brampton. And I know that there's been conveyed, I guess, by the family of the interest of renaming of the hockey rink. I've spoken with the mayor, so maybe I'll let the mayor, you know, speak to it and essentially maybe have staff report back next week at council about the possibility. But it was a sad loss, especially on Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Medeiros. And so with council's indulgence, we'll bring item 8.3.4 as you already have, and ask the mayor to speak.
I just wanted to say on behalf of the city of Brampton, our sadness, our deepest condolences to the Gibson family and to all those that he touched during his time in Brampton and beyond. You know, seeing some notes from our protocol office about his years of service. He passed away at 71, but dedicated much of his life to public service. He was first elected in 1991, represented wards 1 and 5 until 2018, following 8 terms in office. Grant represented wards 1 and 5 and played a pivotal role on the numerous committees, including chair of the Community Services, Building, Bylaw, Planning, Budget Committees. In 2006 and 2014, he was appointed as a regional councillor. I'm sure Councillor Pelletier's father had many stories about Councillor Gibson as well. You know, these were city builders. These are our, you know, individuals that poured their heart into building modern Brampton. During his time at City Hall, he, I'm told, was devoted to fiscal responsibility, always looking at taxes, transparency. He was the first councillor, I'm told, to post his expenses on the city website. And it was dedicated to the quality of life of all Brampton residents, focusing also on transportation, recreational amenities, and economic development, particularly for our downtown area. Grant not only served Brampton at City Hall, he also was a fundraiser for Big Brothers and Big Sisters Appeal, and was a former board member and coach for the Brampton Youth Hockey Association, and volunteered for Brampton Minor Baseball. We want to recognize his years of service, and I know Councillor Medeiros had a suggestion that the facility already named after his, I guess it would be his father, that in that facility one of the new rinks be named in Grant Gibson's honor. And given the family history of that facility, that certainly sounds appropriate, and would love to see that staff report back. But just to say, the deep sense of loss that we have, I had the chance to meet Grant when I first ran for mayor and was told to seek his guidance and wisdom, and just a wonderful, wonderful man, and obviously faced health adversity, but did so with optimism and a love for our city, and we just want to acknowledge that we miss him in the city of Brampton today.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Councillor Pleshy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I've known Grant for a long, long time, since I was a kid, so inside and outside of politics, and I have to say that he was the same kind of guy outside of the City Hall that he was inside. He's very precise, always wanted something, when he was telling you something, he always wanted to be a teaching moment and for you, and he was that kind of guy that was just a very fatherly figure, and always had some great stories, and absolutely loved Brampton, loved it so much through and through. So I know his family will miss him a great deal. He has passed too early, but he was a really good man, and he had a funny bone. Whenever you talked to him, you didn't think that he really was had that funny comical side of him, but man, did he ever. He could come up with some really good singers, and that's the kind of guy he was. He'll be missed. A lot of staff in the city of Brampton loved Grant, so just wanted to throw in my 2 cents about the man. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Pleshy. So, members of the committee, we have a motion on the floor moved by Councillor Medeiros. All in favor? That carries. Next, we'll move to item 5.2.2. We have an announcement regarding the 2024 Graticus Digital Government Award for Operational Excellence from Brampton Building and Business Portal. Farhad Habibi is the Director of the Building and Chief Building Official, Program Manager of Information Technology. He was here to make the announcement. Farhad. Welcome.
Good morning, Mayor Brown, Member of Councils, and distinguished guests. I'm excited to share that the City of Brampton has been awarded the Granicus Digital Government Operational Excellence Award for our building and business portal. This recognition would have not been possible without the exceptional leadership and support of Commissioner Ganesh, who provided us with the tools and resources needed to succeed. I also would like to thank Commissioner Milajovic for his ongoing support in ensuring we had the best and an outstanding IT team collaborating on this significant project. Thank you. I also like to express my deepest gratitude to my amazing team present here today, and their hard work and dedication alongside IT, also present here, made this achievement possible and ensured the success of the building and business portal. Councillor Pleshy will now share more about this outstanding accomplishment. Thank you.
Councillor Pleshy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So as you heard, the city is receiving this prestigious honor for the exceptional work of innovation demonstrated by our building and information technology team in leveraging technology to drive positive impacts within our community and businesses for our residents, stakeholders, and all. They're a global leader in customer experience technologies, service for government. The honors those government entities and employees who have implemented new capabilities and programs to increase awareness of community programs, improve citizen experiences, and drive operational efficiency. And everybody in public office loves that word, efficiency. The award celebrates the incredible success of Building and Business Portal, a fully digital tool that transformed our building permitting process by enabling seamless online applications, inspection, scheduling, and access to property records. We've not only streamlined interactions between residents, businesses, and city staff, but also significantly enhanced overall satisfaction. This recognition is a testament to the power of collaboration between our planning and building, growth management, and IT teams. The city staff also significantly enhanced, the milestone in Brampton's journey towards improving transparency, efficiency, again with the word efficiency, and accessibility in our services. Congratulations to all staff who contributed to this remarkable achievement. Together, we are building a stronger, more efficient Brampton. And so I'd like to, on behalf of all members of council, a round of applause for all of our staff, and thank you. Let's celebrate this astounding. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Pleshy, and thank you, Farhad, for you and your team and all the efforts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Our next announcement, 5.3, retirement of Alia Inam from the Mental Health Unit at Trillium Health Partners. Oh, that one?
Through
Madam
you,
Clerk.
Chair, I'm sorry, this is a delegation, actually.
Okay.
Is in there, so we'll pass that. Is that?
Oh, we'll do a picture with Farhad and his team. Yes.
We'll just have to wait, the delegation.
I have to wait.
It's not your turn yet. Yes. She's going to be the first delegation. I'm sorry, I think she submitted the wrong forms.
Very good. Members of committee, we'll now go to our first delegation from Alia Imam regarding the retirement of Alia Imam from the Mental Health Unit at Trillium Health Partners.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Good morning, Mayor, Mr. Patrick Brown, and to all council members. My name is Alia Inam, legally, but I'm called by Alia Shakir. I'm a Canadian citizen since 30 years. I'm living in Toronto, and I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an artist, niece of the world's famous artist MF Hussain, and the CEO of this miracle drink, Nurul Shifa, which in 40 days is a challenge that all diseases and all illnesses go away. I'm homeless. I was put into mental unit, Mississauga Trillium Hospital on 21st August 2024. By my own family, when they saw me a transformed, God-fearing woman from a modern woman who I used to be. I was diagnosed by more than 15 diseases on 12th July 2024, where all my tests was done in Saudi Arabia private hospital. I booked all my tests in Mississauga Trillium Hospital, and all my tests are cleared in 40 days. I came to the Mississauga Trillium Hospital, and I'm cleared. I'm on zero medicine, and I did reverse aging on myself in 40 days with this drink. I made an oath to myself when I was diagnosed that I will do whatever it takes, and that's where this came. I reached Toronto, Canada from Saudi Arabia on 6th of August 2024 and continued my drink. Threatened by me because of a transformation woman by wearing all this and praying, my husband and all my 3 children abused me, tortured me, and put lots of medicines under my throat on 20th August 2024 at midnight, and my son kicked me out from his home. Next day, on 21st August, I was taken to Mississauga Trillium Hospital at 4 p.m. to mental unit to be admitted. I was admitted in the adult mental unit in the care of Dr. Rashidian, who was my psychiatric doctor. I was an artist and I used to do paintings in my room in mental unit and give as gifts to all my doctors and staffs and nurses. I was discharged on the 19th of September 2024. But then again, my family put me in the Mississauga Trillium Hospital on the 30th of September when I went to see Bob Marley's show on the singer in downtown by calling cops on me. I was shocked as police took me to my son's car and they asked me to go to the hospital with him. Again, I was in the same loop. I went to emergency department in Mississauga Trillium Hospital on 30th September in the evening. Here is where all my trauma began. While I was waiting in the emergency room, my prayer time at 7 p.m. was called and I was walking towards the prayer room when my eldest daughter, who landed from Italy, embarked me from behind, squeezed me, abused me, tortured me, screamed on me. It's all on the PR, it's all on the camera. And she said, I'm not going anywhere. I told her in my low voice that I'm going to the prayer room to pray as it is the time. She called security guards on me while she was screaming from top of her lung. I entered the prayer room at 7 p.m. and started praying. As soon as I finished prayer, I fell down unconsciously on the prayer mat because of the trauma my body went through from my daughter. For hours, I was lying down, lifeless, unconscious. The doctor tried to revive me, but I would not open my eyes. At midnight, they took me to the emergency room where I started getting fits for the first time in my life after every 1 or 2 minutes. I started seeing myself, that I am losing myself. I could hear the voices. I saw a tunnel and my father and my mother and brother who were in heaven, and I knew that I am not going to live anymore. Suddenly, I hear a big blow on my chest, and I open my eyes and start breathing, but I do not see anyone. I was wondering who could it be? And this is what I want to find out from the Trillium Hospital, which doctor revived me, so I can say thank you for giving me a new life. I was shifted from the emergency unit when I opened the house to the most corrupted unit in Mississauga Trillium Hospital, the senior mental unit. They would give expired milk and food to the patients. And come to know when I opened the fridge, it was all expired milk. I raised my voice, and on doing that, the security guards were called, and 6 huge security guards came to the mental unit, and along with nurses, they take me to the room and give me injection. And I sleep for hours and hours. Next day morning, I was not fresh, and when I took the first morsel of breakfast, I fell down unconsciously. As soon as the nurse heard me, I told the nurse that I would complain about my daughter who had, they say, it is on CTV camera. As soon as the nurse heard me, she called the security guards, and 8 to 9 huge guys came out of the unit and asked all the visitors to leave the unit. I said something was not right. They squeezed me, they hold me, and they gave me injection, which I lay left listless.
Alia, if I may, you only have about 10 seconds left. Can you just close your...
I have put this complaint to patient relation in Mississauga Trillium Hospital, and I'm requesting you to take the case.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Alia.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alia.
Councillor Vasante.
Mayor.
Just to say, so at a municipal level, we don't regulate the hospitals. That's not something before the city of Brampton. We get updates from Osler. We don't get updates from Trillium, which is in Mississauga. What I would note is there is a patient ombudsman in the province of Ontario. I remember that when I was at the provincial level, and if there's a complaint about a hospital, you can take that right to the patient ombudsman office, and that's located in Toronto, and it governs all hospitals. MPPs also have jurisdiction over healthcare in Ontario, and so if you have a local MPP wherever you live, you mentioned that you live in Toronto.
I do not have a place. I'm leaving the country on Saturday because I'm homeless. I do not have a place to go. So can you...
Well, I would take the complaint to the patient ombudsman. I think that would be your best route. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Mayor, and thank you again, Alia, for your delegation.
Thank you.
I have a motion for a receipt from Mayor Brown. All in favor? That carries. Our next is possible delegations regarding surplus declaration of transfer of fee simple interest of a portion of city-owned land at 0 and 40 Aurora Place in Ward 2. Is there anyone present today in chamber or online that wishes to speak to this item? Madam Clerk.
Through your chair, I just see nobody online.
Very good. Can we bring forward the report, item 12.2.4? And we'll ask Councillor Pleshy if he'd be willing to move the report. Moved by Councillor Pleshy. All in favor? That carries. Next, item 6.3, a delegation from Melissa Williams, the Senior Manager of Strategy and Stakeholder Engagement at Credit Valley Conservation, regarding the Fletcher Creek SNAP 5 years of neighborhood scale climate action. We have Melissa Williams, the Senior Manager, joining us here today. Welcome, along with Constance Sang. Welcome, Constance.
Thank you. Good morning, Mayor Brown and members of council. My name is Constance Sang, and I'm an environmental planner with the City of Brampton. I'm also the city lead for Fletcher's Creek Sustainable Neighborhood Action Plan, also referred to as Fletcher's Creek SNAP. As a refresher, a Sustainable Neighborhood Action Plan is a collaborative neighborhood-based approach for advancing urban renewal in older urban areas. Fletcher's Creek SNAP is led by Credit Valley Conservation, also known as CVC, and in partnership with the City of Brampton and the Region of Peel. I'm pleased today to introduce Melissa Williams, Senior Manager of Strategy and Stakeholder Engagement at CVC, who will provide an update on Fletcher's Creek SNAP and the great milestones over the last 5 years. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Constance, for your introduction and support. Good morning, Mr. Chair, Mayor Brown, members of council, and guests. My name is Melissa Williams, as Constance mentioned, and I'm excited to share with you the accomplishments achieved to date through the Fletcher's Creek Sustainable Neighborhood Action Plan. Fletcher's Creek SNAP was CVC's first SNAP project, developed in partnership with City of Brampton and Region of Peel. The action plan for the neighborhood was endorsed by Brampton Council in 2019, and we have just reached 5 years of plan implementation. SNAP is a neighborhood-based solution for sustainable urban renewal and climate action that brings efficiencies, draws strong community support, and builds innovative partnerships for implementation. Next slide, please. The Fletcher's Creek SNAP neighborhood shown here is an older urban neighborhood located within the Fletcher's Creek subwatershed. It was originally selected for a SNAP to address existing environmental challenges, including a lack of modern stormwater management controls at the time, erosion and poor water quality in the creek, diminished urban forest canopy cover, and low-quality natural cover. Next slide, please. The project aligns with several important City of Brampton strategies shown on the slide here. SNAP finds the synergies between municipal and watershed priorities and community interests, and it puts those recommendations into effect at the neighborhood scale. Next slide, please. This timeline shows the process for developing and implementing the project. We're currently where the yellow star is on screen, having completed 5 years of intensive implementation. As of 2025, we are shifting to what we're calling the capacity building phase, which I'll speak more to later in the presentation. Next slide, please. The action plan was developed in consultation with project partners and the community. It includes a vision statement and 27 recommended actions listed across the 5 themes shown on this slide here. Over the past 5 years, project partners, as well as community groups and residents, have been working hard to implement these actions. Next slide, please. We're happy to share the collective accomplishments shown on this slide, presented through the key metrics we've been tracking throughout the project. As you can see, a substantial amount of on-the-ground work has been completed. A high number of people have been engaged, and over $1.3 million in external funds have been raised to support this work. Next slide, please. I'd now like to highlight a few specific project accomplishments from the past 5 years. 3 rain gardens have been installed at local schools, including Glendale Rain Garden, believed to be one of Canada's biggest school rain gardens. Between the 3 gardens, 4,000 plants were installed and over 650 students engaged. Next slide, please. Approximately 650 meters of stream have been restored through a partnership between CVC and Ontario Streams that engaged 146 youth at 15 events. Next slide, please. Through delivery of our Your Green Yard workshops, home visits, and planting, CVC staff had the opportunity to engage with over 400 residents to share knowledge about sustainable landscaping. Next slide, please. The Haggard Avenue Bioswale is the engineered green infrastructure project led by City of Brampton in partnership with CVC. It was installed to slow down, soak up, and filter rainwater before it enters the creek, keeping water clean and protecting fish such as the endangered red-side dace. Next slide, please. Lastly, the SNAP has supported the city's No Mow initiative, converting previously mowed underutilized turf in local parks into natural meadows that support pollinators and wildlife, sequester carbon, and support stormwater management. Over 4,500 trees and shrubs and 2,000 wildflowers have been planted on these sites through community events. Next slide, please. As part of our 5-year milestone reporting, we administered a survey to the community in summer of 2024, and over 89% of respondents feel we have collectively made progress on bringing the Fletcher's Creek SNAP vision to life. Next slide, please. Just in a matter of time. And back on October 5th, we had the chance to celebrate with a community event in Fred Klein Park to celebrate this great milestone with over 40 attendees from the neighborhood taking part. Next slide, please. In addition to celebrating, we're also planning for what's to come next. Over the next few months, we'll be building on our capacity building phase. And just for the sake of time, I'll wrap this up quickly. As we reflect on our accomplishments, we want to thank the City of Brampton, including staff and council members, for their collaboration and amazing support on this project. Thank you very much. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Melissa and Constance, and we do have Councillor Santos on the board. Councillor.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, thank you to CBCA and the incredible chair that we have at the CBCA, who also sits on this council.
CBC.
the CBC, for Fletcher's Creek SNAP and the work that you're doing. I was there when you first started in 2019, 5 years ago, and the excitement from the local residents who were very happy to think global and act local. And that's what the SNAP program is. It's also inspired SNAP programs in County Court, as well as in Bramalea, and other areas across the province, and has received tremendous awards. I have attended the rain garden plantings, the tree plantings, every single year. And the number of residents who get involved, get their hands into the earth and participate is fantastic. So really, I want to just say congratulations on this 5-year milestone. Thank you very much. I look forward to this year, going into the 6th year. And on that note, I would like to invite you to my Earth Day cleanup in April, which is going to be in Fred Klein Park with probably over 300 young people. And would love for the SNAP, Fletcher's Creek SNAP, to join us on that event. So I'll have my team follow up with you and make sure that the Fletcher's Creek SNAP residents, over almost 7,500 of them now, are invited to that event. Thank you. Congratulations.
Through you, Mr. Chair, thank you so much, Councillor Santos, for your support, and Councillor Vicente as well. I know you've been a great supporter since the beginning as well. We've really appreciated your support all throughout the project, and your wonderful video message for our 5-year milestone as well. And we would be interested for sure in hearing about this event and the opportunity to join. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Santos. Next, Councillor Pelletier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good thing for you, I have an in at CBC, so I can help you with that. We can get staff out there. That'd be fantastic. I just want to say, like, the SNAP program, the Fletcher's was the first SNAP program that CBC had ever done, and what a success. Really changes a lot, even around the way we build stormwater management ponds. You can see the way we built them before the SNAP program, but the way that they're building them now. So huge success. It's time to maybe look into other areas, and so I think with Councillor Santos, myself, we'd like to move some staff direction to work with CBC to find out where that next location is. And then when you're done doing that, where the next location is after that. I think that'd be fantastic. Thank you so much today for coming to delegate.
It matches with the neighborhood associations.
It does match with the neighborhood associations.
Thank you very much, Councillor Pelletier. And you have a motion for receipt of the delegation moved by Councillor Santos. All in favor? Oh, there is direction. There is.
To find out where the next SNAP program will be in the city.
I'll ask for staff to capture that. Does that capture what you're asking for, Councillor?
Yep.
Very good. So we have the motion on the screen as read, moved by Councillor Palashi. And receipts, all in favor? That carries. Thank you so much. Next, we have a delegation from Michelle Bilek, the founding member of Peel Poverty Action Group and Canadian Lived Experience Leadership Network regarding homelessness and encampments. Michelle? Is she online? I don't see her online. Okay, so we'll move on to our next item. We have a delegation from Ratish Saini, Parmjot Mahara, Sanjay, and Gurpreet Kainth, driving instructor for the annual renewal fee waiver for driving school operator, driving school plates, and driving instructor licenses. Welcome, Ratish, Parmjot, Sanjay, and Gurpreet. You have 5 minutes.
Good morning, Honorable Mayor, council members, staff members, and distinguished guests. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to address you today. My name is Ratish Saini. I'm a driving school operator and driving instructor in the city of Brampton. I'm thankful to Honorable Councillor Harkirat Singh for inviting us to shed the light on the severe challenges faced by driving school industry and to respectfully request your support in waiving the renewal fee for the driving school operator license, driving instructor license, and driving school plate. Over the past year, the driving school industry has been reeling under unprecedented challenges. The federal and the provincial government introduced significant changes to immigration policies since December last year. As a result, the businesses like ours, which rely heavily on new immigrants, have been disproportionately affected. In the last couple of months, the situation has deteriorated drastically. Many driving schools are experiencing a complete halt in the new enrollments. Upcoming batches remain empty, and our driving instructors, who are the backbone of our operations, are left without any work. Respected council members, this is not merely a business concern. It impacts the livelihood and families who depend on this industry. Adding to these difficulties are the growing number of restrictions and regulations being introduced by various levels of governments every other day in the recent past on the people who are already in Canada seeking permanent residency. While we understand and respect the intent behind these measures, they have further compounded the financial strain on small businesses like driving school and instructors. As things stands today, we see no clear path to recovery in the near future. Despite these challenges, we remain committed to serving our community and ensuring road safety through quality driver education. However, the financial burden of maintaining our licenses and plates have been increasingly untenable. This is where we urgently need your support. By waiving the renewal fee for driving school operator license, driving instructor license, and driving school plates, the city of Brampton would be sending a powerful message of solidarity with small business owners during these trying times. This gesture would provide much needed financial relief and allow us to allocate resources to sustain our operations, retain our staff, and continue contributing to the community. Respected members of the council, the driving school industry plays a vital role in fostering safe and responsible drivers, which directly impact the road safety for all Brampton residents. Supporting our industry now is not just an investment in small businesses, it is an investment in the safety and well-being of our entire city. I urge you to consider the immense challenges we face and take decisive action to help us weather this storm. Here I would like to thank Honorable Councillor Ravina Maria Santos for bringing the Auditor General's report on driver education and examination system in the Council for debate. We expect the Council to strongly urge the Ministry of Transportation to implement this report at the earliest. We have been asking them all these recommendations for the last 10 years, but nothing have been done. This may help us stabilize our industry significantly as well as improve the road safety. Together, we can ensure that driving schools in Brampton can continue to serve our community effectively and emerge stronger from this crisis. Thank you for your time, understanding, and consideration.
Thank you very much. I have speakers. Deputy Mayor Singh.
Thank you, Ritesh. Thank you for the whole team for coming out today. We've had continuous dialogue over many, many years. But this year is particularly difficult for the industry. And maybe for council's information, could you talk about the challenges particular to this year and how much of a drop you've seen in business, given the restrictions, the stringent restrictions that have come from the federal government on immigration numbers?
If you look at our businesses, basically depend on the new immigrants who come to this country, and the driver license is the first requirement before they go out for any job, a good job or whatever it is. And Brampton being the hub of new immigrants, I would say the 90 to 95% business depend on the new immigrants.
Yeah.
Now, since last December, there have been immigration policies which have been introduced, which completely stopped the new immigrants coming into Canada, right? Specifically the international students, which are the basic customers for us, right? And with more restriction being placed on the immigration for the people who are already here, who are students here, who are on temporary visa here, they don't see any hope because there are further restriction on them to apply for their residence. So they have also made up their mind not to spend something which does not help them in future. So I would say that being a driving school operator, my business has gone down at least 80% in last 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the impact we are facing. And further, no new batches are coming in private, the educational institutions, so we don't see any hope coming up.
So your industry has been decimated?
Almost, you can say. And the people have already started moving to some other businesses who can do.
Okay. And when, if you could answer this, or I could ask that, when does renewal normally come up?
In April.
April, okay. And so normally, like thinking as an economist, because that's my background, I would say, you know, if we have a high fee, we'll encourage those who are serious about the business to stay. But we also have another problem, which is why that philosophy would not work, and that's the legal instructors. So if we keep the fees high as they are, and there's a lot of challenges, there's already a whole industry around illegal instructors, and by keeping the fees so high, we may be actually encouraging more people to go illegal. So that's the challenge, and Councillor Santos, as you rightly indicated, is bringing a motion to help address that as well, which has come through a continuous dialogue. So for this, we won't be able to make a decision right on the spot right now, but we will refer it back to staff to bring a report, because we have done similar for the taxi industry as well. So let's get that report. We have the time, so I'll look to staff to get it before the renewal comes up in April. So that gives us a couple of months, get the report, and then we'll finalize it, and you'll be able to see it, and we'll ratify it then. So I will move that we refer it back to staff. I do want to thank the industry. You have been great partners to the city. A lot of these policies coming today, whether it's this motion or the work that Councillor Santos is doing, that's come through years and years of dialogue, and I know you've dialogued with other levels of government as well, and we'll continue to do what we can to support you. I don't want to say sorry, but I understand the challenges you're going, and for that we feel you, we hear you, and we'll try to make something happen in the next few months. Okay, so thank you so much, and that's all I had to say. I think Councillor Santos is on the board as well. Thank you.
Councillor Santos.
Thank you, through you, Through you, Mr. Chair, you can stay up here in the front. I'm going to say a few words as well. So I want to say, again, echo what Deputy Mayor Singh is sharing, and I'm happy to support the referral. There is a motion today regarding safer drivers equals safer roads, inspired by you, but also by some residents who've been asking us to do something about the bad drivers, not just in Brampton, but across the whole province, unsafe drivers. And the fact that this association, Driving Instructors Association, has endorsed the AG recommendations, 18 recommendations to create safer streets, safer highways across the province. You've been doing this work and advocating for safer roads, safer drivers for many years. You are the good guys. You are the ones who are actually following the rules and making sure that those drivers that and those students that you're teaching are driving on our roads with the most comprehensive knowledge of how to follow the rules. And so when you come here to delegate to us, you're the players, you are the businesses that we need to support. It's the other ones who are fraudulently giving out training certificates, and the other ones who are teaching students how to pass a test versus teaching students how to drive properly, or the instructors who are taking the students to rural municipalities to take the test instead of learning and taking the test and passing the test in the city where they're going to drive. You are the good players. And so I'm very happy to support the referral of this motion to support you during this time, because it was quite a knee-jerk reaction without any thought on the impact of some of the businesses when they pulled the rug when it came to those immigration changes. So happy to support the referral, and thank you again for your work. I hear that the ministry is listening. They responded to a media interview I gave this morning about the motion, and so let's see what else they have to say.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We have a motion moved by Deputy Mayor Singh. All in favor? Any opposed? That carries. Our next delegation from Manohar Singh Bal, the Director and Secretary of Gurdwara Guru Nanak Mission Center, regarding bicycle lane and barrier poles on Guru Nanak Street. Welcome, Manohar. You have 5 minutes.
Good morning, everyone. My name, as mentioned earlier, is Manohar Singh, and with me is Mr. Gurudev Singh, who is the President of the Gurdwara Guru Nanak Mission Center, and other members of our management committee, which is Amritpal Singh and Kanwaljit Kaur. So we collectively operate a Gurdwara, which is the 6th place of worship in the city of Brampton. Our street address is 13 Guru Nanak Street, and this Gurdwara is in the residential area. Presently, the Guru Nanak Street is a single lane street with bike lanes going east-west between Dixie Road and Great Lakes Drive. The Gurdwara is situated at the southwest corner of Dixie and Guru Nanak Street. Previously, Guru Nanak Street was a 2-lane street with a middle left turn lane for drivers to enter the Gurdwara going west on Guru Nanak Street. With the allocation of 1 lane to the bike lane, the entire road has been converted to 1-lane road. This has resulted in traffic jams on many sides of these roads, and this has negatively impacted on the flow of the traffic, both coming in and out of the Gurdwara. This chaotic situation of the traffic flow is more visible on the weekend when large number of individuals and families visit the Gurdwara. Bike lanes have negatively impacted the traffic conditions on the entire Guru Nanak Street from Great Lakes Drive to Dixie Road. The blockage starts from the Great Lakes Drive because the entire street has been converted to only one lane for all kinds of vehicles. Another reason of congestion in the area is due to the fact that there is no left turn signal for turning on Guru Nanak Street when traveling on Dixie Road north of Dwight. So given this situation, this is what we suggest. We recommend that bike lanes and the barrier poles be immediately removed from the Guru Nanak Street, and we recommend that lighting fixture configuration be readjusted to make provisions for left turn on Guru Nanak Street. Thank you very much for your time. Very brief.
Thank you very much. I do have speakers. Deputy Mayor Singh.
Thank you for coming to delegate, we really appreciate it. Not only have I seen the issues that this has caused, my parents have been stuck many times and told me and taken pictures as well. It is insane the amount of traffic that gets stuck there, especially during peak times and during obviously festivities and religious holidays that we have. So I did bring this up with staff a few weeks ago. From my understanding, the poles were put by the region, and so I'm going to send it back. We're going to refer this to staff to remove the poles immediately. And you're also working on your site plan, I believe, for the site.
Yes.
So this is a good time to bring up, we should be looking seriously at other accesses for this. And so I'm going to refer it to planning as well. I see you, Commissioner. And let's see what we can make happen to improve traffic flow. But immediately, I know it's regional, but I would ask staff to get on the phones, and Councillor Tour being the regional councillor as well, to work the phones to get the poles removed immediately. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Tour.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for this delegation. Like Deputy Mayor said, we see this issue firsthand every single time we come to visit the Gurdwara there. And I'll just make a comment, even just about the bike lanes too. I wish we can design things better, especially for things like bike lanes, to not have people hate bike lanes. If they were designed better, if something better was put up, especially in this place, you wouldn't have people talking about this. So, part of that problem is those barriers. I understand it was the intention to have that, I don't know if it was to protect the bike lanes or to improve some turning over there, but that when you can't make a right on a single lane and everybody's just halted up traffic all the way to the back, and you have hundreds of people trying to enter and leave a same place, the traffic doesn't move, and then the backlogs all the way to Great Lakes, all the way to Trinity Commons for blocks. And I know the Gurdwara does a really good job with their volunteers. I've seen like 10, 15 people volunteer their time in the parking lot to make sure cars can move around, people don't get frustrated with each other. I've seen 2 or 3 volunteers that are always at the gate of the Gurdwara to make sure people obey the no left turn while leaving the place. You're risking your safety standing in the middle of the road with your vest on, with the lights in your hands, trying to move people, trying to get the traffic moving. But if it's not designed to move that way, it makes that very hard as well. So I agree with Deputy Mayor Singh on this. I wasn't aware that the region appeal had anything to do with this, because Guru Nanak Street or Peter Robertson is not a regional road. Dixie is. So I don't get how they get to decide if they're going to put up something on our infrastructure, on city-owned infrastructure. So if we can refer this, I'll just agree with the recommendation here that we refer this back to staff to talk to the region appeal, immediately remove those barriers. But Deputy Mayor is right about it again, that on the site plan application that you have right now, there's ways to work around this. Let's figure out better entrances and exits that are happening on the site. Whether this portion of street could have a multi-use pathway, whatever the case is. This Gurdwara is very, to be honest, it's a leading example. Every time I go there, I feel happy because they actually have bike parking area. They actually have e-scooter parking area in the Gurdwara. I've never seen that at a place of worship. You're probably the only ones I see that do that, so it's very progressive. But when we do something like this, it hurts the cause. So I'll wholeheartedly support this recommendation as well.
Thank you very much, Councillor Tour. Councillor Santos.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for taking a reasonable approach and thinking through ahead of time how to find that balance. Really, really appreciate it. And thank you to my colleagues as well for being very reasonable in looking at how we implement this. Now, listen, Brampton is new to the idea of bike lanes, protected bike lanes, and there is this huge polarizing issue sometimes. And I love the fact that you found a problem, which is the poles, and you're maintaining the bike lanes, but also looking at access and access points and dealing with especially your high peak hours when there's a lot of worshipers there. Really appreciate that very much. Because it's Brampton's first time implementing a lot of this stuff, like the pilot program, which is not done yet on Vauden, Howden, and Hanover, because we're testing these things out, it's an opportunity for us to find in those cases where we need to treat the flow better, where we need to make it safer for drivers, safer for cyclists, etc., based on evidence and data. So as an active transportation advocate myself, a person who supports a lot of the implementation of this work, because we have to get people, we got to give people more options to get around. The reality is that there are bike parking and scooter parking at your Gurdwara because I have seen Punjabi uncles use their bikes to get there and other places around the city. And they get there more safely on their bikes because we have this new infrastructure in place. So I want to thank you for being reasonable. Thank you for upholding your principles of taking care of the environment, right? Because it's better that people bike there than take their cars. It means less parking issues and less congestion issues for you. Thank you very much, and I support the referral back to staff.
Thank you, Councillor Santos. Councillor Tour.
Thank you. Thank you through you, Mr. Chair. I think, just speaking with Commissioner Ganesh as well right now, that if the region has done this work, I think it's not just enough for us to consult with the region on this. We may need to make this decision at the region as well, or at least direct regional staff to work with our staff, because that's the work that they had done. So if just so that we don't miss out on this, and I don't want to come back and waste time and do this again, if we could add another thing on this, that if we can refer this to region appeal staff or regional council, we can have you come, and like Councilor Fertini is suggesting, we can have you come delegate at the region appeal as well. But if we can refer this to region appeal council, and we can speak with them, we can give them direction as well to work with our staff. I think that might be the way to do it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Tour. Thank you.
We'll follow up with your office to make the presentation to the regional appeal?
Yes, we'll help you with that.
Good. Thank you very much for your time.
So we have a motion moved by Deputy Mayor Singh, as read on the screen. All in favor? That carries. Our next delegation is from Sylvia Roberts, a Brampton resident, regarding the Zoom line construction scheduling. Welcome, Sylvia. You know how it goes. 5 minutes.
Hello, my name is Sylvia Roberts. I'm a resident of Ward 3. Next slide, please. So the topic is Zoom line construction. Historically for Zoom, a brief overview of the timeline. In 2010, we launched the 501 Queen, then the next year the 502 Main, then the next year Steeles East, a 1-year pause, then Beauverde, then we did the Steeles West, then we put the 561 Queen West, and so over 9 years we've built 7 lines or major extensions. However, since 2018, the Beauverde extension to get to Malton Go, we've done the little extension from Malton Go to Viscount Station, and we are planning to build the Chinguacousy Zoom, which maybe opens this year if the LRT opens, but I've had transportation engineers tell me there's no way it's going to open this year. So I don't know. So in a 10-year period, we've gone from, we had built 7 in 9 years to in 10, 1. One of the issues we have is state capacity. Next slide, please. So in Toronto, they built the subway and they continue to build it out. They built a lot of in-house talent and they got very good at it. And as a consequence, For 30 years, their construction costs, once adjusted for inflation, were flat. Now at this point, the Finch West LRT, which is effectively a streetcar, costs twice as much per kilometer as it cost them to build the subway through the downtown, where they dug up the street, tunneled excavated all of that stuff, and put down decks and had that reopened in 3 months for people to do. And it's taken longer to build that, and they're spending twice as much to build a streetcar. Brampton Transit has done a very good job on building out Zoom. It has built the in-house expertise and talent to deliver these types of projects on time and on budget. If you don't build any more of these projects, the capacity to do that, it just rots away. And that becomes your problem. So the question is, are there projects that make sense? Next slide, please. So in 2017, Brampton Transit identified the Chinguacousy as needing a Zoom so much that it kicked Bramalea down the line. And now we have 4 lines. We have, in addition to Chinguacousy, which still needs to finish its Zoom line, Dixie, Kennedy, Torbram, and Sandalwood all have more ridership than Chinguacousy did at that time, and Bramalea is 96.5% of what that was. I've heard complaints from residents in Bramalea that it's good that the Bramalea bus runs very frequently, but there's issues when it stops and there's no bus bays, and I've heard that causes a serious amount of aggravation. Putting in things like bus bays makes it so we can deliver that transit while reducing frustration to residents. There's also a question of, for the councillors for wards 9 and 10, how much Zoom service do you have in wards 9 and 10? You got the Beauvert bus that clips, but that's basically it. Now, if you had the Sandalwood bus, that would be a significant amount of benefit. Next slide, please. So, is ridership sagging? Probably, but we've been here before. In 2009, after a 36% increase in 3 years, ridership went down just a little bit. Did the city of Brampton ease off the gas, we're gonna shelve Zoom? Instead what happened is they went full bore on it. And so in the next 3 years, after it had just gone down a little bit, it didn't go up by 5%, it didn't go up by 10%, it didn't go up by 25%, it went up by 50% over 3 years. Residents responded to, you build the service, you run the buses, and people will show up and take the buses. I've looked at the new transit budget and there are no Zooms. The Bramalea Zoom has been effectively canceled. The money has been reallocated towards other buses, to buy buses. And I get those are useful, but we run into the issue of all of that capacity to build things out and to build a better city and to make sure there's good transit service in wards 9 and 10, and to all of the new areas being built out in Ward 6. We lose the capacity to build that. So I'd like council to think about making sure, maybe not say this budget, but looking forward to future budgets, we make sure we're putting money aside to deliver transit service to build a better city. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sylvia, for your continued and very passionate attention to what we're doing here at the City of Brampton. I think that staff are listening to what you have just pointed out to us. I don't see speakers on the board, so I'll ask for a motion of receipt from Councillor Tour for your delegation. All in favor? That carries. And with that, we move on to government relation matters. I believe that we have Andre Hoffman, our Manager of Government Relations and Public Liaison, or that was in consent. So then 7.2, which is a discussion item at the request of Councillor Santos regarding driver training examinations, the Auditor General report. Councillor Santos, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and Deputy Mayor Singh and the Instructors Association. Over the past year, Deputy Mayor Singh and I have been looking into this matter, and let's face it, it doesn't matter how many speed bumps, ASC cameras, traffic calming measures we put in the local roads in Brampton, if we have unsafe drivers, unqualified drivers, bad drivers on our roads, it's not going to help. And in fact, in 2023 and 2024, as the motion shares, it was some of the most tragic incidents and most number of collisions in 2023 and 2024. And one of those collisions actually happened exactly last week. It wasn't tragic, thank goodness, but exactly last week, Premier Ford was hit on the 401 in Pickering, not Brampton, in Pickering, by an 18-year-old novice driver from Oshawa. So a driver from Oshawa, not Brampton. And even though Brampton continues to get a bad rap when it comes to drivers, the reality is that no matter where you go, there are too many bad drivers on our roads. And the Premier got firsthand experience of that exactly last week. And the challenge is, and you can scroll up as I continue speaking, the challenge is that these collisions are not only an issue of preventable death and injury, but it costs us money. It increases our insurance rates. It costs emergency response in terms of time from fire, police, paramedics, our emergency rooms, and our healthcare system, lost productivity, and congestion. One of the major causes, I was listening this morning, and if you turn on the TV every single morning, they always start with major collision on XYZ highway or XYZ road. Caused by an accident, caused by a reckless driver, caused by whatever. But ultimately, when you look at the statistics, for example, the OPP actually shares it's so critically important that we understand the rules of the road and we share the road safely, responsibly, and understand the consequences for making bad decisions that can be deadly. And sure, we have responsibility as a city to deal with speed bumps and everything else. It is not our jurisdiction to deal with speeding on our highways, like the 410. It is not our jurisdiction to give people driver's licenses or driver training and education or driving examination. That is the provincial responsibility. And when Deputy Mayor Singh and I were looking into this, looking for solutions to the root cause of the problem related to bad drivers across the city and province, we found that the Auditor General in December 2023 already had a report. They already did a value for money audit looking at driver training and education for safer roads, safer drivers on our roads. They already looked at making sure that we had recommendations for the ministry to actually be accountable for making sure we had qualified drivers on our roads. So the Auditor General already started this work, and the ministry, unfortunately, has not responded with how they're going to make our drivers more qualified and tighten up some of those rules and regulations. For example, I shared some earlier. Drivers in Brampton most of them, 72,000 of them, are taking their tests in Orangeville. And then they're coming to drive on the streets of Brampton, and the streets in Orangeville are very different from the streets of Brampton, which increases the likelihood of them getting into a collision, which increases the likelihood of our insurance rates in Brampton going up. The other matter which affects the driving schools, as I mentioned, is the fraudulent issuing of certificates saying that they're qualified to drive when they haven't done the entire course at all and they're paying cash under the table. That story broke by CBC Marketplace, I believe in March of 2024, just this last year. And then, the other issue that we have here is that there are many repeat offenders. Repeat offenders who have Highway Traffic Act violations, and then they get a suspension, but then they get their license back. And the recommendations in the AG report say that they should do retraining. They should go back to school. So there you go, there's an opportunity. They should go back to school, do the retraining, and make sure they understand the rules of the road. In 2021, 2022, 2023, yes, we saw an influx of international students who came in. And the ministry decided to relax some of the rules in order for many of those to get their licenses in an expedited way, depending on their level of experience in their home country and how long they drove for. However, in some of those relaxing of the rules to get their license here in Canada, or in Ontario, it meant that those in other countries could get an expedited license if they had less than 12 months of experience, or less than 2 years of experience, meaning they were driving on roads that they were not familiar with, didn't have experience with, but were given a license just because they had experience back home. And guess what? The statistics in the Auditor General report say that those drivers got into more collisions than anyone else, than the other drivers who didn't go through that expedited process. Nonetheless, there are 18 recommendations, and if you could just scroll up. There are 18 recommendations in the report, which I've attached comprehensively to this motion. And if you go to therefore be it resolved, the therefore be it resolved says that the City of Brampton officially endorse the 18 recommendations and the findings in the AG report in order to ensure that we have safe and qualified drivers on our roads. This is not our jurisdiction to issue licenses or to monitor training, etc. It's the province's responsibility. They have their action plan and their recommendations right there. They just need to follow through with it. It's been sitting there for over a year now. And that the City of Brampton share this motion and endorsement with the Premier, Minister of Transportation, all local MPPs, and because there might be an election coming up, the leaders of the official opposition and the third party. The City of Brampton requests a formal update from the provincial government and would love an in-person meeting from the Minister of Transportation regarding any action that's taken up to date, because we have been trying. We haven't received an update on any of those action items as previously shared in the delegation. And we want to put specific emphasis on how driver training and examinations are going to be improved so that we have safer drivers, qualified drivers on all of our roads. And that the City of Brampton forward this motion. So what's interesting about this, the reason why I want it forwarded, and I'm going to highlight it here, the City of Brampton is not the most dangerous place to drive in Ontario. To be very clear to the trolls out there who want to peg Brampton as the worst place to drive, that is not true. We are fourth. The first is Brantford, the second is Kingston, the third is Burlington, and the fourth is Brampton. And so the intention of this part of the motion is to let those other municipalities who are facing the same issues as we are know and encourage them to also do something like this by endorsing the AG report and passing a similar motion. Also in the Auditor General report, there are lists of other municipalities where there are very specific concerns related to fraud, related to driver training and education, related to students who are learning based on the test or taking the test elsewhere and then driving in the communities where they actually live. So I would like that this motion and correspondence to be sent to those municipalities in the AG report as well. And while Brampton is referenced quite frequently in the Auditor General's report as an example, they point to something that we've done municipally through bylaw enforcement, which Deputy Mayor Singh and I have also been working on, which is bylaw enforcement of some of the driving instructors who are not behaving well. And we spoke about that with the association as well. So bylaw enforcement doing blitzes related to driving instructors, and very specifically in the AG report, it points out that, oh, this is not the correct, can you scroll down? Yeah, there we are. That in some municipalities, such as Brampton, municipal bylaw officers patrolled test routes and issued fines to driving instructors who lingered around exam routes. So even with the limited tools we have municipally in Brampton, we have been trying very hard to deal with some of these issues. but we could only take it so far. We need the provincial government to actually act. We need them to start focusing on safer drivers on our roads and not just encouraging more drivers on our roads. If they're going to build a tunnel under the 401 and the 413 and wanting us to expand our road system and have more drivers on our roads, they better make sure that those drivers actually know how to drive. And right now, the statistics and the number of collisions that are happening on our roads by novice drivers in particular is demonstrating that we do not have safe drivers on our roads. So that is the motion. And thank you, Deputy Mayor Singh, for working together with me on this. I spent a lot of time, a lot of research going through trying to find a solution to a problem that the municipality doesn't have jurisdiction over. But we're going to try, as always in Brampton, to push through. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Santos. Deputy Mayor Singh.
And thank you for this. I think this has been years in the making. I want to thank the association for continuing to advocate and keep us updated of challenges and working with the city. I want to thank you, Councillor Santos, for bringing this forward, for doing all the research and bringing this up. And it was interesting to know that you knew about the EG report, and when we had the meeting, many of the instructors knew about the EG report. And so this EG report and sort of what it's proposing is very important for the industry, for our residents, so we're happy to endorse and support. I am personally happy to do that. Additionally, it was nice to know our blitzes were referenced, and that's something we hope to build on, and that's a continued request from the instructors that we continue to do blitzes as much as we can to ensure our roads are safer for our residents, for our children, and making sure we're producing better drivers. So more than happy to support. Thank you, Councillor Santos, for bringing this forward, and thank you to our instructors for working with us.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Singh. So, members of committee, you have the motion as read on the screen. All in favor, any opposed? That carries. Next, we're going to move into our Public Works and Engineering section. Item 8.2.2 was held by Councillor Pelletier, but Councillor Pelletier has had discussions with staff and is now satisfied with the report. So I'll ask for a motion moved by Councillor Brar. All in favor? That carries. And moving on to councillor question period for Public Works and Engineering. Madam Clerk.
Through you, Chair, we have 8.3.3 as a discussion item.
Excuse me, yes. Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. You are correct. We have a discussion item at the request of Regional Councillor Medeiros regarding the Hurontario LRT update. Councillor Medeiros.
Thank you very much, through you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted an update. I haven't heard much in terms of timelines. I know there was some press conferences, stuff in the media about timelines. So I've had some inquiries about some of the businesses and some of the developers along Steeles, just as they're moving in people now. Just wondering what's the state of timelines of LRT. And also following up, do we have any further information? I think the minister did announce there was some, that the intention of bringing it to downtown. So anything that you can share. I know that Metrolinx hasn't shared too much, but just looking for an update. Thank you.
Through the chair to Councillor Medeiros, I have Doug Rieger, the Director of Transit Development. We are going to do a more thorough report and come up with an update, but as you said, we don't have a lot of information yet, but Doug can give you some high-level brief overview. Thank you, Doug.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor. So through the chair, yeah, we did connect with Metrolinx on this to see what we could share. They have made some significant progress over the past few years. The majority of the track work is installed along the corridor. Most of that is in Mississauga right now. And city staff have been supporting them in that as the line is, the Brampton is in control of the right-of-way. We're the authority for that, and making sure that Metrolinx and their contractor are doing things properly. So to date, staff have reviewed more than 1,100 design packages for the LRT and have issued over 400 permits in order to support the work that's happening just within Brampton. Within Brampton, the construction has been focused on utilities. We expect that a lot of the track work activities will actually happen this year, that the road work construction will kind of wrap up, and then Metrolinx and their contractor will work in the middle of the road, and they'll put that track work in through this year. The operations, maintenance, and storage facility, which is located in Brampton, just south of the 407, that is nearing completion, and Metrolinx is preparing to receive the LRV vehicles, hopefully this year as well. And as Heidi mentioned, we are preparing, we will be coming to council with a couple of reports over the next few months, and we'll have some further updates on that. Metrolinx has stated that, they haven't provided definitive timelines right now. They're saying when the construction nears completion and they start that testing phase, then that's when they'll be in a better position to provide some timelines as to when things would be operational. But one of the biggest things right now is that once they complete, they get the curb lines in and the 2 lanes of traffic in each direction flowing along that section of Huron, Ontario and Brampton. Again, that focus will stay in the middle, and there'll be less traffic disruptions. There will be some as they get to intersections. That's going to be and hopefully short term, but it'll affect intersections as they construct the track work in there. But then they should make significant progress this year on the construction of the Hazel-McCallion line. Regarding the LRT extension, so the province has announced funding to advance the planning work for both the Brampton extension and the loop in Mississauga through the Building Transit Faster Act. The city's, our project team that has done a lot of the work for the LRT extension work, we've been liaising with Metrolinx staff and working with them to share all of the information that we learned through the process that we went through. To date, Metrolinx and the province have yet to determine a specific alignment that they want to advance through the process, and we continue to reiterate council's support for the tunnel alignment and all of the benefits that it has over the surface alignment, which is why we had staff had recommended to make that alignment and move forward.
Thank you very much through you, Mr. Chair. I'm good with that. Thank you. I know it's limited information, and I guess Councillor Keane and myself, we've had some inquiries, and also I think it'd be great to as fast as we know. But I'm confident that when you bring your report back, we'll have a little bit more information. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doug, and thank you, Councillor Medeiros. So with that, then, we are completed our Public Works Engineering section. Do any members have questions with regards to Public Works today? Seeing none. Public question period. Madam Clerk, do we have any questions from members of the public so far for today's meeting?
Through Chair, I see no questions sent in so far.
Very good. So with that, I'll pass the chair to Councillor Santos to do community services. Since there is nothing on the community service section, everything was in consent. Do we have any questions from members with regards to community services today? Seeing none. And then
what about you?
There is a question from Councillor Paleski.
My apologies. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And the advisory committee minutes did go into consent, and I don't see Jason Tamming here, but there was a motion, and just for all of council's awareness, the Community Safety Advisory Committee is going on the road. We'll be in a town near you in each one of your areas. We're bringing it to a road show, which is, I think, going to be fantastic. So we'll get you to support that. But we also, in that motion, asked for Stratcoms to support just the awareness of us coming to a location in the ward. So I just wanted to make sure that we're good with that. I'm getting the absolutely yes from Alex. So just wanted to let all members know that we'll be in your location very soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Paleski. And the clerk has reminded me that there is one item remaining in community services. It was the item that I proposed that we discuss on the Seniors Council, correct? Very good. So if I may speak, I know the mayor is not here, but in discussions with the mayor and also with Deputy Mayor Singh, following the dissolution of the Brampton Seniors Council, We are looking to see what the city can do to recreate a new seniors council that is administered and supported by the city of Brampton. And the mayor has some ideas on how the membership for a new City of Brampton Seniors Council can be constituted. He's not here right now, but in any case, the motion on the floor would be that city staff work together with the mayor and deputy mayor and myself to come up with terms for a new City of Brampton Seniors Council to be supported by the City of Brampton and to hold meetings perhaps 2 or 3 times a year for seniors groups to be able to participate, provide feedback, do consultation, and engage with the city directly. So that would be the motion for members of committee today. I don't see any speakers, Mayor? No? Very good. So that's the motion. All in favor? That carries. And so with that, we go to council question period for community services. Seeing none, public question period for community services section.
Through Chair, there are none.
Very good. And now we have legislative services section.
Nothing.
There's nothing there. Everything is in consent. So we'll go to public question period for legislative services.
Through you, Chair. Item 10.2.2 was held, just looking for direction for the amended bylaw to come back. I think just clarity, although if it's...
Very good. So we have item 10.2.2, a staff report on proposed amendments to bylaw 165, 2022, occupancy standards, supplementary report, staff report regarding occupancy standards and overcrowding in rental accommodations. Do any members have questions? Seeing none, I have a motion moved by Councillor Santos to move and receive the report. All in favor? That carries. And moving on to council question period. Any questions from members? Seeing none. Public question. Madam Clerk, do we have questions?
Through you, Chair, I see none.
Very good. And so with that, we now move on to the economic development section. Everything was in consent. And so we'll move on to public question period for economic development.
Through you, Chair, I see none.
Very good. So then we'll move on to the corporate services section. We have an item that was brought forward by Councillor Barr, 12.3.1. Councillor Barr, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. So this is just about Black History Month, and just like other events, it promotes diversity, it provides education on history and breaks barriers. And really, it's a way to celebrate achievements, address challenges, and lay the foundation for a stronger, united future for Brampton. And when we look at Black history events, it really promotes, it serves as a platform to really prioritize community safety, highlight economic growth, promote our community voice and consultation, empower our youth, and really provides opportunity to build these meaningful partnerships and fundraising opportunities to support and empower programs by the Black Empowerment Unit. And I did have a motion on the floor, is to just to allocate the $15,000 to the Black History Month events in 2025 to really provide them the support that they need to continue their programs that they need. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Barr. Members, you have the motion on the screen. Any questions? Okay, all in favor, any opposed? That carries. And so with that, we now move on to public question period for this section of the agenda. Madam Clerk?
I have no questions online.
Very good. And the referred matters list was in consent, so public question period for today's meeting. Any questions, Madam Clerk, or from anyone in the gallery? Seeing none, so we'll now move on to closed session. I will ask the clerk to summarize the items that we are going into closed session for today.
To Chair Vicente, closed session items. 15.2, Committee of Adjustment Update. The open meeting exception is under Section 239(2)B of the Municipal Act regarding personal matters about an identifiable individual, including a municipal or local board employees. And 15.4 is a verbal update for status of negotiations, and 15.5, a verbal update for new litigation.
Thank you very much. I have a motion moved by Deputy Mayor Singh for us to move into closed session. All in favor? That carries. And with that, I do believe that lunch is here as well, so ask for members for us to reconvene in closed session at 11:45. Thank you.
Hi, it's Councillor Santos. I'll be online for the remainder of the meeting.
Thank you, Councillor. We can hear you just fine.
All right, I'm going to ask the clerk to summarize and report from what happened in closed session, please, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. In closed session, item 15.2 was considered and approved with the following open session recommendation: that staff be directed to continue closely monitor Committee of Adjustment member attendance, and that staff be directed to establish an ongoing training program for Committee of Adjustment members for the remainder of the 2022-2026 term that shall include further training related to bias, harassment, parliamentary procedures, Planning Act requirements, OACA training opportunities, member duties and responsibilities, any other educational sessions deemed to be relevant to the work of the committee by the City Clerk and/or the Commissioner of Planning, Development and Growth.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. I'm going to ask if Councillor Pleshy would move it. So moved. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? That carries.
And through you, Chair, item 15.3 was approved on consent, including the following open session motion to be considered: that the purchasing agent be authorized to commence a limited tender procurement direct with Microsoft for Microsoft Enterprise products, cloud services, and support services for a 3-year period.
And that was carried on consent.
And through you, Chair, 15.4 was considered, direction was given to staff. 15.5 was considered, no direction was given.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. So, members of committee, our last item of business is item 16, adjournment. Committee is next scheduled to meet on January the 29th, 2025 at 9:30 a.m. I have a motion moved by Councillor Power to adjourn today's meeting. All in favor? There is no one opposed. Thank you. The motion carries. The meeting is adjourned. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Thank you.